Do you really think planting garlic is as simple as just popping a clove into the ground and waiting? But what if I told you that one tiny mistake at this stage could cost you your entire harvest? Today we're going to break down the entire garlic planting process from A to Z, and I promise you'll uncover at least 3 secrets that even seasoned gardeners keep to themselves. First, let's quickly clarify one important distinction. There's winter garlic, planted in the fall, and spring garlic, which is planted in the spring. They require different cultivation methods and yield different results. Today, we'll focus specifically on winter garlic, because planting it in the fall is what guarantees those big juicy heads next summer. So, let's start at the very beginning, choosing the right time. This isn't just a date on the calendar, it's arguably the single most crucial step that will determine 90% of your success. The optimal time to plant winter garlic is roughly 3 to 4 weeks before the first hard freeze. Why is this timing so crucial? Picture this. During this window, each clove needs to do one essential thing: put down roots. It needs to firmly anchor itself in the soil to survive the long, cold winter. What happens if you plant it too early, say, during warm September weather? The garlic will be fooled, thinking spring has arrived. It won't just sprout roots, it'll also send up tender green shoots above the soil. And this is where things go wrong. The first serious frost will then kill off these delicate sprouts. The plant will have wasted its energy and will go into winter weakened. As a result, it will take a long time to recover in spring, and come summer, your garlic heads will be small. However, planting too late is just as bad. If you plant garlic right before the first freezes hit, it simply won't have enough time to establish roots. A weak root system won't be able to withstand the soil freezing solid, and in spring, you risk not seeing any sprouts at all. So, how do you pinpoint this ideal moment? Keep a close eye on the long-term weather forecast for your region. The average daily temperature can be your guide. Once it consistently drops to between 5 and 7 degrees Celsius, 41, 45 for the Gève, and stays there for several days, that's your cue. It's time to act. Now let's talk about choosing the absolute best spot in your garden. Imagine you're picking out an apartment for a very important guest. Garlic, you see, is just that kind of VIP. It's a true connoisseur of comfort. It absolutely adores sunshine and despises wet feet. So, make sure to pick the sunniest, and ideally, a slightly raised bed for it. If your plot is in a low-lying area where water tends to collect in spring or after heavy rains, garlic simply won't thrive there. Its roots and developing bulbs will quickly rot. It needs ample space and plenty of light for photosynthesis. After all, the sun's energy is what helps it develop those big, juicy bulbs. By the way, it's equally important to consider what grew in that bed before your garlic. This is called crop rotation, and ignoring these rules means knowingly risking your harvest. Ideal predecessors for garlic are crops that received a generous amount of organic matter. Think cucumbers, zucchini, pumpkins, early cabbage, or legumes like peas and beans. They not only help loosen the soil and enrich it with nitrogen, but most importantly, they don't share common pests or diseases with garlic. Now pay close attention to our no-go list. You absolutely must not plant garlic after onions or other garlic. They share common diseases and pests that can build up in the soil over years. Planting garlic after its relatives is akin to repeatedly hitting the same gardening snag. Potatoes are also not the best choice. They can leave behind Fusarium wilt pathogens, which are quite dangerous for garlic. By selecting the right location, you're laying the essential foundation for a healthy and abundant future harvest. Next up, soil preparation. If you've chosen a prime spot for your garlic, it's time to prepare a comfortable bed for it. The bed for your winter garlic should be like a luxurious feather bed, soft, loose, and packed with nutrients. So don't be lazy. Grab your shovel. You'll need to thoroughly dig over the bed, at least a full spade's depth. This is crucial for aerating the soil and ensuring future roots can easily penetrate deep down. But simply digging the soil is only half the battle. Garlic, especially winter garlic, is a heavy feeder. It needs a substantial supply of nutrients to survive the winter and get a strong start in spring. That's why we add amendments right when we're digging. Well-rotted compost or thoroughly aged manure is ideal, about 1 bucket per square metre. Wood ash makes an excellent addition, approximately 1 to 2 cups per square metre. It provides potassium, phosphorus, and a host of trace elements. Now pay close attention. This is one of the most common and critical mistakes. Never, ever use fresh manure. Many novice gardeners mistakenly believe it's the best fertilizer, but for garlic, it's practically poison. As fresh manure decomposes, it can literally burn the delicate roots just as they're starting to develop. What's more, it encourages fungal diseases that are incredibly difficult to get rid of later. So, the rule is simple. Feed your garlic only with fully cured, well-aged organic matter. Now let's talk about the most crucial element, your planting material. Here, a simple but golden rule applies. Big cloves make big bulbs. So, for planting, always choose the very best, largest and healthiest garlic bulbs. Don't hold back. You'll always have time to eat the smaller garlic, but save the true giants for planting. Make sure to carefully inspect each bulb. It should be firm, dry, without any soft spots, dents, or suspicious discoloration. Gently peel back a bit of the papery skin. There should be absolutely no mould or signs of rot underneath. Remember, diseased garlic will never produce a healthy harvest. You'd simply be wasting your time, effort, and valuable garden space. Once you've selected your perfect bulbs, you'll need to carefully separate them into individual cloves. And here's a crucial tip. Do this on the day of planting, not before. If you separate the cloves too early, the basal plate, that's the part where the roots emerge, can dry out. This will significantly hinder the rooting process. As you separate them, continue to cull. Each individual clove should be large, firm, and covered with its intact, undamaged outer skin. Any small, double, shriveled, or damaged cloves are not suitable for planting. Feel free to send those straight to the kitchen. Only your hand-picked soldiers, ready to face the long winter, should make it into the soil. The next step is incredibly important, one that many unfortunately overlook, then wonder why their plants get diseased. The key is disinfection. Even seemingly healthy cloves can harbour fungal spores or bacteria on their surface, just waiting for the right conditions to multiply. So we'll give them a preventative soak. The simplest and most time-tested method is soaking them in a weak solution of potassium permanganate. Dissolve a few crystals in water until you get a light pink solution, then immerse your selected cloves for about half an hour. This will be enough time to eliminate most surface pathogens. If potassium permanganate isn't available, you can use a solution of table salt, about 1 tablespoon per litre of water. Soak the garlic in it for about 30 minutes as well. The salt creates an inhospitable environment for microorganisms. For those who want maximum protection, there are specialised products, fungicides, for example, phytosporin or Maxim. Simply dilute them according to the package instructions and soak the cloves. This simple step is your best defence against numerous soil-borne diseases that can lurk and affect your garlic. Don't skip this, and your future harvest will surely thank you. Now that our planting material is ready and the soil is prepared, it's time to start planting. First, on your prepared garden bed, you'll need to make furrows or individual holes. The easiest way to do this is with a hoe, a small trowel, or even just the handle of a shovel. Now here's the most common question we get. How deep should you plant your garlic? There's a simple golden rule that's easy to remember. Your planting depth should be 3 times the height of the garlic clove itself. Just pick up a clove, look at its height, and mentally multiply that by 3. Typically, for standard winter garlic cloves, this works out to about 5 to 7 centimetres deep, and for very large ones, up to 10 centimetres. Why is this so important? If you plant garlic too shallow, it risks freezing out over winter. When the soil freezes and thaws, it can literally heave the cloves right out of the ground. On the other hand, if you bury it too deep, it will have a very hard time pushing through to the sun in spring. It'll expend a lot of energy and time doing so, which will ultimately impact the size of your future garlic head. Next, let's talk about the correct orientation of the clove. This part is simple, but also crucial. The clove should be placed in the soil, strictly root end down. That's the flatter part where the roots used to be, with the pointy tip facing upwards. If you plant it sideways or upside down, it will most likely still sprout. Garlic is a resilient plant, but it will waste precious energy trying to reorient itself underground. We want all that energy to go into robust root development and strong future growth. Just correctly placing your garlic cloves in the soil isn't enough. You also need to give them ample space to grow and thrive. Garlic, like any plant, needs room to spread out. If you plant them too closely together, the bulbs will remain small because the plants will compete fiercely for light, water, and essential nutrients. So, proper spacing is crucial. Within a single furrow or in a row, aim for 10 to 15 centimetres between each clove. Adjust this based on the size of your cloves. Larger cloves need more space. Picture the width of an adult's hand. That's roughly how much room each future plant will require. You'll also need to ensure adequate space between the furrows themselves, or rows, about 20 to 25 centimetres. This isn't just for the plant's benefit, it's also for your convenience. In spring and summer, you'll need to loosen the soil and remove weeds, and this spacing will make those tasks much easier to manage. Should you water your garlic bed immediately after planting? This all depends on the weather conditions and the current state of your soil. If you're having a dry autumn and the soil crumbles easily in your hands, then watering the bed is absolutely essential. This will help the cloves wake up quickly and begin to establish their roots. However, if there have been recent rains and the soil is already sufficiently moist, then additional watering isn't necessary and could even be detrimental. Excess moisture in the autumn can lead to rot, so act according to the situation. If the soil is dry, water it. If it's already moist, leave it be. And now for the final, crucial step, which acts like a warm blanket for your garlic: mulching. This technique is especially important for regions experiencing cold winters with little snowfall. Snow provides the best natural insulation against frost, but if there's little to none, we need to create an artificial protective layer for our garlic bed. So, what exactly is mulch? It's simply any organic material used to cover the soil surface. Once all your garlic cloves are planted, and if needed watered, cover the entire bed with a layer of mulch, roughly 5 house 10 centimetres to 4 inches thick. What can you use for mulching? You have many options. Excellent choices include peat, well-rotted compost, aged manure, or simply fallen leaves from healthy, disease-free trees. Straw or wood chips are also good options. So, what are the benefits of mulching? First, it protects the soil from deep freezing by creating an insulating air layer. Under this protective layer, your garlic will overwinter in much more comfortable conditions. Second, mulch helps retain soil moisture and prevents the ground from developing a hard, impenetrable crust. And third, in the spring, once you gently rake it back, it will decompose and provide additional organic nutrients for your plants. It's a simple yet incredibly effective way to ensure a successful garlic harvest, starting right in the fall. And this brings us to the core secret we touched upon earlier. Success isn't about one grand gesture, but the culmination of all these seemingly minor details. You could meticulously prepare your soil, but if you plant diseased garlic, all that effort goes to waste. You might select the best cloves, but plant them too shallowly, and they'll freeze out. The true aha moment in garlic cultivation is realizing that no step is insignificant. Skipping pre-planting treatment, planting after an unsuitable previous crop, or using fresh manure. These are the common missteps that stand between you and a harvest of large, healthy, incredibly fragrant garlic heads that will be the envy of your entire neighbourhood. So, let's recap. Proper timing, a sunny spot, well-prepared and fertilised soil, healthy cloves, pre-planting treatment, and the correct planting depth. That's your recipe for a bumper crop. With this knowledge, you're now well equipped for your gardening endeavours. Thanks for sticking with us until the end of this video. If you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future videos. Now for a question for you. Do you have any family secrets when it comes to planting garlic? Or perhaps you've made one of the mistakes we discussed today. Share your experiences in the comments below. We'd love to read them.